scripture is given by the inspiration of God. It is proper for doctrine, reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. The man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. Again, we invite you to join us on this Sunday, each and every Sunday. Sunday school begins at 10 a.m. Worship service begins at 11 a.m. and our live stream begins at 11:30 a.m. Again, our Sunday school lesson conference call is every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. And as you please visit our website, hbcbuffalo.org. That way you can get the phone number and an access code. And again, join us on every Wednesday night for our Bible class on tonight. Psalmist said, I was glad when he said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. Hebrew writer has said, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together as the matter of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much more as we see the day approaching. We say the benefit of coming together, we come together to encourage one another, lift each other up, all right, lift each other up, edifying one another as we see the day approaching. Let us pray. The grass withers, the flower fadeth, the word of our God shall stand forever. Lord, we come once again on another Wednesday night. We ask once again that you just come in our presence. We sit with two or three together in the name that you promised to be in the midst. So we come tonight, Lord, study that word. Please open our eyes and may see the glory. Open our ears and may hear your word. Open our hearts and may receive it. In the name of Jesus, our Christ. Amen. Amen. It's been several weeks since we have been together, and we've been on this journey in overcoming rising above life's toughest problems. And the reference scriptures that we'll be using tonight is actually coming from the book of Genesis. So somewhere around the 39th chapter, all the way through chapter 50, toward the end of the book. You do well to get time to just read those chapters, refresh yourself. Many times you have read them many times. All right. Again, and our lesson tonight is when people hurt you. When people hurt you. And most of us remember being deeply hurt by someone. We've all been hurt by someone along this life's journey. And unless we know what to do when people hurt us, we find that memory of these hurts scars our past, is sad as the present, and then it shapes us in the future. And here, one of the greatest biblical examples of what to do when people hurt us is found here in the life of Joseph. With here, this part here taking place in Genesis 39 through the end of the book of Genesis, that 50th chapter. And we find Joseph as a young boy. We're familiar with the story. Joseph is so hated, despised by his brother, that they sold him into slavery, and he's taken to Egypt. He was his father's favorite there. His father made a nice coat of colors for him, and then Joseph he shared his dream. So many lessons here. You got to be careful when you share your dreams with. Amen. Right? You got to be careful. Some folks don't want you to make it, don't want you to be prosperous, don't want you to get them down the road. So you got to be careful. Come on. You can't share everything with everybody. All right? Everybody. But his brother was despised, hated by his brother. They sold him into slavery, and he was taken to Egypt. Then once he gets to Egypt, he becomes a trusted administrator of a wealthy government official named Potiphar. And Joseph is so honest and such a great accountant and administrator that Potiphar puts Joseph in charge of everything he had and concerned himself only with what he life. All right? Yeah, you take care of all this. I'm going to trust you with everything, my kingdom. All I'm going to be concentrated on is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's it. That's all I'm going to deal with. All right? And we said, having a good form, all right? And it's unusual for us to call a man beautiful. Yeah, it is. We just don't know how to use some terms, all right? But the ladies, they were having their own meeting. Women should. They talk about beautiful men they have seen. Yeah. All right. Now I'm sure that's been a conversation. We just ain't heard it. we just ain't heard it. But men, we just don't call each other beautiful. All right. Don't call each other beautiful. All right. Or having good form. All right. Therefore, said Joseph is so good looking. All right. Miss Potiphar lusted after him and tried several times to seduce him, but he always refuses. All right? And in Genesis, the 11th verse of the 3rd chapter says, and it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, meaning he went to do his normal work, his normal chores. All right? And there was none of the men in the house there within. The Bible says she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand, fled, and got him up. And the right, he puts it like this. He said, this means that he runs down the street in his Fruit of the Loom. Wondering how he got down to his Fruit of the Loom. Yeah, his Fruit of the Loom. And Potiphar tells her husband that Joseph tried to rape her. And Joseph ended up in prison. Yeah. So she got to say something because he left his coat. Sometimes you got to get out there and hurt. You got to learn. Sometimes you got to learn how to run. Yes, sir. Yeah, you got to learn how to run. And days down the road, you be glad that I'm glad I ran. Somebody might say you're a coward for running. But down the road, you'll say I'm glad I ran. All right. So she accused him of trying to rape her, and he ends up in prison. And then while in prison, Joseph quietly becomes a trusted inmate administrator. He got these great skills, all right? And during his time, he helps Pharaoh's butler, who's also in prison, all right? The baker and the butler got put in prison because they offended the Lord, right? They offended him. I don't know what they said, didn't do, but they offended him, and they ended up in jail just by offending him. And he asks the butler assistant when he's restored to his position in Pharaoh's house. All right. After he interpreted the dream for him, he said, "Now when you restore, remember me, don't forget about me." All right. However, when the butler is released from prison, he forgets about you. All right. We'll say something to type. Then we'll get out that type. That's the end of it. All right. And according to chapter 41, verse 1, he said after spending 2 years, he's been in prison 2 years, Joseph is released because he interprets a dream for the Pharaoh. All right? He interprets a dream. All right? You can find that chapter 41. He interprets a dream. He eventually becomes the prime minister of Egypt, the most powerful nation on earth at that time. All right? The writer here says, I guess, we can agree with it, go along with it, but the writer here said, if I had been Joseph, do you know the first question I would have asked when I became prime minister with absolute power? I would have asked, where's Miss Potter? Where's Miss Potiphar and that butler? I know the term they would use today. Where's that? And where's that? All right. However, there's no bitterness or revenge in Joseph's heart. Now, this is the person studying the Bible. God puts these things in there for our purpose. Right? But it tells us that Joseph marries a young woman and has 2 sons who he named Manasseh and Ephraim. All right? And in biblical times, names were chosen because of their meaning. Names had meaning. And today we usually choose names based on how they sound. How they sound. We choose names, half of your first name, half of the spouse's first name. It depends on how they how they sound. All right, and the writer asked was, do you know what your name means? All right, do you know what your name means? The only thing I know, my name being Dennis, Dennis Jr. That I'm just a junior. I'm named after my father. That's fine. I can think of. That's it. All right. All right. Some people try to say, "Well, you Dennis and Dennis." No, no. Don't take it. Don't take me there. I think that's why when I was a little kid, and that's why I would tell about my name. That I would use my nickname. Don't take it because Dennis Minute is pretty popular. Going on there, and so we choose these names based on how they sound. And so Vanessa means forgetting. And according to Genesis 41:51, it says, For God said He had made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. So Joseph named his second son Ephraim, which means doubly fruitful. All right? And Joseph gives the reason for this name. Verse 52 said, For God had caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. In the land of my affliction, God's caused me to be fruitful. And to be fruitful in the present, Joseph knows he must forgive the people who hurt him in the past. That's a great quote there, great lesson for us today. All right, in order to be fruitful, today you got to forgive those who hurt you in the past. All right, and if we are to enjoy our blessings after being deeply hurt by people, we must make a moral decision to forgive. All right, the dictionary defines forgive as to give up resentment against or the desire to punish or pardon. All right? So when we forgive, we let go of our bitterness. Bitterness will eat at you like a cancer.
Yeah, we will.
All right? We got to let go of our bitterness, let go of our hurt, and maybe let go of our pride. Too many of us are full of pride. Full of pride. And so here, there's two things you must do to be able to forgive those who hurt us. First thing to write here was free the person. Free the person. See, when a person hurts us and we refuse to forgive them, we put them in the prison of our heart. Y'all got some folks that are locked up in your heart. All right? And so what happens when we have people in prison in our hearts, just thinking about them puts us in a bad mood and causes us to relive the hurt. Every time we think about their name, because we got them in the prison of our heart. Every time their name is mentioned, we get upset. All right? We get upset. That's not like somebody that me, even I know. Every time they mention their name. The word of God is just truth. And when it's true, you got to recognize it. Say amen. Every time that person's prison in your heart, every time somebody say the name, you ready to cuss. Yeah, your whole mood change. Right? The person hurt you 42 years ago. If somebody bring their name up right now, you ready to cuss. Yeah, yes. And I said we would never stop hurting until we release them by forgiving them. All right? That's what Joseph did. Joseph had been deeply hurt by his brothers. Can you imagine that? The brothers took out, they were going to kill him first. Then they decided to put him in the pit. All right, put him in the pit, leave him, and then they sold him to the Egyptian. All right? And again, he'd been hurt by his brothers. And Miss Potiphar did him wrong. All right? She did him wrong. All right? She lusted after him, and he ran out of the innocent man. She accused him of mocking her, accused this and mocking her, accused her of raping her, and then the butler double-crossed her. All right? And so again, when did Joseph hurt? When did his hurt end? When he got revenge? No. After he forgave all who hurt him, he released them and he let them go. All right? And Jesus said in Luke 6:28, bless them that curse you and pray for them which despitefully use you. Jesus. And as Christians, we must be abnormal because this verse describes the exact opposite of normal human behavior. Jesus said there are two things we must do to release people who have hurt us. First he says we are to bless them. All right, we are to bless them. That word translated blessed, means eulogy, and it's the Greek word from which we get the English word eulogy, which means to speak well or to praise. All right, that's how we bless them. We don't talk evil of them. We talk well of them. All right. The Bible says in 1 Peter 3:9, we should not be guilty of rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise, blessing. All right. Yeah. Instead of being evil for evil and all these other things. Our speech should never be characterized by insults, but words of blessing. All right. Most Christians tarnish their witness with words of resentment, gossip, criticism, more than anything else. And Jesus said in Matthew 15:11, not that which cometh into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defiles a man. Mm-hmm. All right. So we got to be careful with our words. We got to learn how to forgive. Sometimes we got loved ones. Maybe they're not living like you want them to live. Maybe you don't agree with their lifestyle. Mm-hmm. But we don't need to come out of our mouth saying we belong to God, and that we're not able to forgive them. For whatever they became, or whatever the situation is, that don't mean we condone it, but we forgive them. Yeah. All right? We forgive them and we bless them. We don't talk evil of them. Many people have lost more children because they didn't like the way they were living, their lifestyle there, and instead of speaking well of them or just being kind to them, every time they see you, have a word of criticism. Yeah. All right? You tear down their life every time they see them. After a while, they don't want to see you no more. They don't want to talk to you no more because you don't have kind words. And guess what else you do? They're not going to your church. They ain't investing in your faith. Because your faith, I've heard you say, my religion is a pick-up religion, not a step-down religion. But every time I see you, you put your foot on it. You put your foot on it. You put your foot on it. All right. So we challenge our witness. We not a good witness. All right. You're not a good witness. You're supposed to be a Christian. You're supposed to have some compassion, some empathy. All right. Some type of understanding about what's going on. All right. And we live in a very complex world today. There's a whole lot of stuff going down. All right? And some of us that's down the road a little bit, we ain't got a good hold of it, but it's, sometimes they do you well just to see, I'm old, don't understand. I'm old. All right? And keep it moving. Keep it moving. It's beyond you. You don't quite understand. You'll come out somewhere, you ready to criticize. There's somebody, because the thing I see now, I see older people now. All right? Dying in hair purple. I understood when they got old. When you 64 and you got your hair purple, you lost me. I said, well, I guess I'm just going to keep going right. All right? And so that's the thing. And so he said, that which coming into the mouth defies, not that which coming into the mouth defies the man, that which coming out of the mouth, this defies man. And most of it defies itself with words more than anything else. And if we to free those who have hurt us, we must begin to bless them with our words. All right? And the second thing Jesus said we must do is to release people who have hurt us. To release people who hurt us is pray for them. It's pray for them. All right? We can't hate and resist someone and pray for them at the same time. And sometimes we think that, okay, I'm going to pray for them, but you still hate them. You still resist them. So you know how far your prayer going? No. nowhere. Praying for them may not change them. Understand that. Praying for them may not change them. That's right. But it will most certainly change us and our attitude towards it. Because through your prayer, they'll interpret it. Yeah, listen, the eye will be eye. What's going to happen? But it'll let you know, prayer will let you know, I need to be more compassionate. I need to have more, I need to have more mercy. All right? I need to have a little bit more tolerance. Prayer do that. Prayer change you. Yes, sir. It not change that person, but it'll change you. You know? Read that song and say, just a little talk with Jesus. Yeah. Make you think, all right. You know, the more you talk to him, the more compassion will grow in your heart, more love will grow in your heart, more understanding that you receive. And one of the greatest joys of Christian life is forgiving those who hurt us. Yeah. And I'm saying, in hell, no one forgets. That is one of the horrors. All your stuff will be brought up again, you go to hell. All right? All your stuff. That's all you're going to talk about all day long. All day long. What are your sins? All right? That's what we say. We can't hear it no more. And if you say it, it don't mean that. All right? And in his book, The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis, he described hell as a place where no one ever forgets anything, but remembers every slight, every cruel exchange of words, every harmful act, and everyone is utterly unforgiving. Can you imagine he was living in an atmosphere like that in the house with everybody with that kind of spirit in the air? Huh? That's it. And some folks living in hell down here. All right? And the right says you want to live in a hell on earth, refuse to forgive and forget. He said, however, when we do forgive and forget, you get a taste of what heaven is like. All right? People hurt us, we must free them. We must free that person. Free that person. All right? And second, focus on the purpose of the pain. All right? Joseph forgave all the injustice done to him by his brothers. All right? Potiphar's wife and Pharaoh's chief butler. And how could Joseph forgive them for all the pain and hurt that caused him? Because Joseph understood God has a purpose for our pain. Right? So Joseph didn't focus on the pain. He focused on the purpose for the pain. But that 50th chapter there, he said, well, as for you, you thought evil against me, but God meant it unto you. We probably should quote this down the road. We don't quote this verse. A whole lot of us know this verse. No, that's a gentleman. We know this one. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. All right? He meant it for good. So Joseph understands that God has a good purpose for every pain and every hurt he allows us to endure. Like Joseph, we must learn to be good stewards of our pain. All right? We got to know how to have it. All right? Got to know how to have it. We must look for opportunities to use our painful experience to help others, because only then can we begin to understand God's meaning for allowing our hurt. And to be good stewards of our pain, we must remember the truth found in Romans 8:28. We know that. We're familiar with that. Yeah. But we know all things work together for the good to them that love God, to them which are called according to his purpose. All right? And so some pain God allows you to be afflicted with. All right? But down the road, it was for your good. It was for your good. And it's significant, Joseph named his first son Manasseh, forgiving, and his second son Ephraim, doubly fruitful, rather than the other way around. And we can't really be fruitful until the hurt of the past is forgiven, and we may not know the purpose until we get to heaven. All right? Yeah, that songwriter says, you'll understand it better. Don't have it. I don't understand it. Don't know why I went through it. Don't know why this pain is split. Then down the road, he said, now I know why. I got it now. I understand it now. All right? And he said, we may have to trust in the promise of Jesus. John 13:7 said, what I do thou knowest not now. but thou shalt know hereafter. You'll know hereafter. If we're unwilling to forgive past hurts, we will never be able to enjoy the blessings of the present. All right? God reveals this so beautifully in the life of Joseph. And perhaps, someone doing this lesson, someone you need to forgive has come in your mind. Only you know. They come in your mind. I need to release that person. I need to get beyond that so I can enjoy the fruitfulness of the day. And you might say, I don't think I can forgive. I don't think I can do it. All right? But we always got Philippians 4:13. We familiar with it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. All right? Yeah, you can get it done. All right? And even when you look at that verse, does this verse include forgiveness? Yeah, it absolutely do. All right? I can do all. You say I can't forgive that person? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can do all this through Christ who strengthens you. All right? So when someone hurts us, we must free that person. All right? Free him. Release him. All right? And then focus on the purpose of our pain. All right? Good lesson. Good practical lesson that we can put into action, right now, because we can understand. We can understand. All right? Thank God for this lesson. Like somebody just got released. Yeah, somebody just got walked through the gate. Yeah. There's somebody come over highway and walk through the gate, they free. All right? Just praise God. So we encourage you to keep trusting God for the journey. Trust the Lord all the heart, lean not to your own understanding. All that we acknowledge Him. And He promised to direct our path. All right? We'll see you next week. Bless you.
Well, last we should have behaved tonight.